You want to fight? Or you want to win?
Well, you know that I love Andor, but I particularly love how Andor has recontextualized not only Rogue One, but a lot of the original trilogy as well, and really explains why Darth Vader kind of gets brought in to handle things because the ISB is so incompetent. And one of the things I really like about the finale, and it feels weird to say I like it, but it's Partagaz's suicide. It's such a like shocking moment. And I'm curious if you got any pushback at all for showing something like that, even though it's not technically shown. I mean, obviously, this is a season that opens up with an attempted rape scene as well.
No pushback whatsoever. No,
Wow.
not at all. No. Um, and it wouldn't have been a place that I anticipated it. No, I mean, it felt elegant, and to be able to bring back Nemec's speech, it was a very satisfying moment to put those two things together.
And it's very true to history. Most people want to kind of escape from being held accountable for anything that they've done wrong in situations like that.
Well, particularly military. I mean, I mean, we were all in Tokyo. I mean, it's the home of seppuku, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm also curious about Nemec's manifesto. Who got to be the one to transmit that through the galaxy? Was that Cassian who had it? Was it passed off to Luthen? Was it something the Alliance used as a tool for recruiting?
I never say. I don't really know. He's got it. It makes its way to Yavin. People must hear about it. I want to think of it. I really want to think of it as a sort of underground pass around thing that people, it's a mixtape it's a bootleg mixtape that people are sharing, and it's getting traction in all sorts of places.
It is. And I love that moment. I have to say, I started crying as soon as it started playing because I immediately recognized that speech from season one. And it was a beautiful way to incorporate Nemec's legacy into the end of the series, essentially. There was something else with Partagaz that I had a question about. What is his and Krennic's history? Did they go to school together? I've seen so many people being curious about that very minor interaction between the two of them.
It really comes from one line where he sort of says, "I can't take care of you, Leo," and you sense that you sense a whole history in there between the two of them. I think in general, the audience will always, if you're being truthful, the audience will always write the best version for themselves in situations like that. You don't want to be too sketchy. There's things where you don't want to be lazy or leave something leave something. I'm conscious of not leaving things that other people might define. Like that's why it was important for me to define the Kleya Luthen relationship. That's why it's important for me to. There's different things I'm doing that I don't need to do necessarily, but I'm nervous about other people coming in and saying, "Oh, this is what it means." In this case, I'm open for everybody to write their own backstory of the what is the path. What was Partagaz's career path and CV, and what seminars or dormitory or institute or barracks were he and Krennic together long enough to form a personal relationship?
And fans certainly will come up with their own theories.
No, they will. No, and that's a place where they're better served at doing it than I am, and those opportunities are, yeah. But the places where I feel where I get nervous about people trying to fill in the blanks, I'm filling in the blanks.
I have to say, I love your media tour. And I have to say, I loved hearing that you were outvoted about Bix eating Gorst's cupcake because I wanted that to happen. I thought that was getting ready to happen. And I was like, I knew
man, that's a deep dive. That's a very deep dive. Yeah, that's one interview. Yeah. No, I was like, wow, but nobody else wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it.
It was the perfect, revenge is
everyone, they felt, what, there are some times where I will go against the group think, but you got to pick that battle a lot. There was a chorus of people who thought that was a bad idea.
Well, I think they're wrong, but I'm curious.
I'm not sure if we even shot it or did they tried it. Did they try it? I'm not sure, but everyone felt it took the gravitas out of it.
I felt like it was getting ready to happen. I did love that humanity almost, of course. Like he's off on his lunch break, grabbing himself a little sweet treat.
They let me have the cupcake. Like the cupcake made it to the scene, but it didn't go any
It
further.
worked well for that scene. But I am curious, this is another one of those, the elements in between the arcs. After that moment of getting to have her revenge and killing Gorse, did Bix continue doing more missions with Cassian, or once they got to Yavin, she started more so helping with like building up the base and building up those components of the alliance?
I think what I'm suggesting is that Luthen has laid the tracks. Well, he's shut the door. I don't think Vel wants to have anything else to do with him after the Aldhani operation. No, I think she's had her fill, and after she finds out that he's been keeping she and Cinta apart very aggressively, I think Cassian has had his own Oedipal crise with Luthen about his meddling in their personal relationship, his relationship with Bix. I think once that's done, I would imagine there was a period of time, a transition where Yavin began to look more attractive and Luthen began to look more disturbing, and Bix is healthier and deciding what she wants to do. And I think that she's probably lost faith in Luthen as well, and the gravitational pull of Yavin and the organized rebellion is overwhelming, and it's a place for them to live. Also, it's a place for them to have home while they do the revolution. And one of the things that we talked about with Luke was to make sure that that the place that they had, because they're early. They get to pick out primo real estate if you're there early, that they have a really nice place there, and that there's room to spread out and that there is a home. And so I don't think she's given up. I think she's I could invent a whole bunch of different things that she was doing in the interim for the rebellion, but primarily I think that it's the split from Luthen probably happens a month or two later after this.
Did you have outlines for those in between times?
No. I mean, I had no. I mean, I clearly go back to the earlier jump. I think the jump that takes them to the between block 1 and block 2, when they end up in the safe house in Coruscant, I think they've been on a lot of missions for Luthen, and there was even a mission that he was going to suggest for her when he wanted her to go out without Cassian. So what's her value? Her value is she's an engineer. I mean, she's super tech, so she's really good at analyzing weapon systems. There was actually a scene that we wrote at one point where she's on a mission on her own, and it's verifying the legitimacy and reliability of an Imperial weapon that's being traded to someone else. It's like a drug deal, really. And she got caught in a. So there's been all kinds of things that Luthen can use her. She does have value. I mean, Ferrex is a really good background education for weaponry and mechanics. I mean, look at Wilmot. I mean, they're all very, very handy coming off Ferrex. So I think those backstories and the killing of the soldier and the whole thing that happens off stage, what had happened, I mean, that I understand that. I mean, not to the point of writing the scene, but to the point of explaining it to Diego and Adria, but not always. No, it's a
give and take.
Yeah, it's when it's really needed. Yeah, it's when it's needed. Yeah.
I have another Bix question, because my colleague Carly did a wonderful profile on Adria, and Adria was willing to confirm that, yes, Bix knew that she was pregnant when she left, because you heard that confirmation. And of course, like how that decision came to be, because it does change some things there. Did somebody else know? Like when she and Vel were talking about Cassian's antics, did Vel have a clue of what was going on? Because then you have that later scene of Vel being like, you should really go catch up with Bix when you get a chance.
I think it's possible that, I don't know if it happened in that conversation. I think it's possible that Vel intuits that that's what's happened, or she's heard a rumor, or I think it loads her line up a little bit more. I mean, a line works either way. If she doesn't know, she doesn't know. It still means the same thing. But I like the idea that Vel has a little inkling about that.
I love that scene where she's encouraging him to go see her. It broke my heart
Yeah.
because we know he's getting ready to leave on this suicide mission, and it
Yeah.
was so good. You mentioned Wilmon, and I'm curious. Obviously, it seems like maybe you don't necessarily have like concrete ideas of exactly what happened in between, but I think his jump from the Rido hit scene with Saw into his kind of established life on Yavin is where you feel a little bit of that time jump there. Do you have like actual outlines at all for where his character kind of evolves to? Was it always the plan for him to survive everything that he goes through at the end of the series?
I don't think I had a master plan about his actuarial table when I started season two. But I think it was very clear in my mind that he's become the surrogate son for Luthen as Cassian has left. Luthen sends him out on this incredibly potent and dangerous mission to Saw. I think Saw um, is wildly influential on Wilmon, and he's impressionable. He's forming himself, but he doesn't stay with Saw. He goes back to work for Luthen, and it's everything we do is important. Like every moment that we have. So Will starting that block with him getting off that troop ship and like the announcements that are being made and make sure you check in with your health thing and get your medical and make sure you do this and do that. And then he goes to the cabin and he's like, wow, this place is getting really organized. And Diego's like, have you checked in with your, no. And he's like, man, this place has a lot of rules all of a sudden. So you're watching, he's coming from he's definitely Team Luthen, but he's got one foot in Yavin, and he's probably Luthen's spy on Yavin in a way, what's going on over there, what's happening. And but he's definitely more, so I never I know there's people who thought, oh, he probably he should stay with Saw. I don't think he ever had any intention of staying with Saw. He always has to get back to, the sorcerer. And but he's influenced by it for sure.
I think he's a great character, and I've loved seeing how much fans have really resonated with him as well. Talking about,
It's really cool to watch Mo grow up because we didn't know when we put him on the truck and escape at the end. It was really just because he's going to get, like, if there's retribution on Ferrex, they know who he is. And boy, I don't want to leave that guy behind because he's just going to he'll be the first person they kill. So that's why we put him on the bus to get the exit. And then over the break, you're trying to find out, talking to all the directors and looking at all his footage, and it cut together and like, how good is this kid? What can we do with him? Can we really lift him up? And talking to him, and oh my God, he rose all the way through, and he's aging in the right direction for us, which is really good. He becomes a man, and he becomes a soldier, and he becomes a hero, and he's a player. He's got girlfriends all over the place, and
he definitely has a type.
yeah, no. So yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
I feel like you've stoked the flames of controversy with some of the Jyn and Cassian stuff, which I'm totally on your side with. I love Bix and Cassian so much. I can't even imagine the like hints of chemistry that you get with him and Jyn to the same extent that, we get with this. But did you have any idea coming into this, like how passionate fans were about that dynamic? Because nothing happens at Rogue One.
I knew very well what had happened with Jyn and Cassian in Rogue One and what had happened in the elevator and whatever. And I knew that scene very, very well. I think I probably went back and looked at that. I think I was really pleased to see that it was more, my memory of it was of all the other takes and other things. And I was really pleased to see how we'd edited that. That it was really ambiguous about what it was. And then I didn't care anymore. Then I was like, okay. And it makes sense. I mean, I wanted to make them both, they're both pretty sexually liberated in their way. I think their first kiss they had, I think the first person they ever slept with is each other. Who knows how old they were on Ferrex? Probably very, very young. And over time they were together and not together. And Tim starts off the show. And who's in charge of that relationship, right? And Cassian certainly has a rich history, and just a little bit we see, and as alluded to, and his mother calls him out on all his girlfriends, and there's Windy and Niamos, and I think they have a very healthy idea of what the different calibrations of love are. And I don't think I don't, when I went back and looked at Rogue, I did not feel that he had ever, uh, I mean, why wouldn't you hold somebody's hand at the end of the world? Yeah, I mean, really. So, yeah, I don't, I feel, I felt bad for the people that had invested so much time in the fan fiction and the stuff like that, the people that were really had gone deep on it, and it's not considered canon and it's not something I have to pay attention to legally. I mean, legally within the, not legally, but within the order. But I mean, people worked hard on that stuff and it meant a lot to them, and you don't want to trample on somebody's flower garden, but I have to do what I have to do.
And it was for the betterment of the series.
Yeah. I know there's some, I know there, I'm sure there's somebody who will never get over that, but I apologize. I really do.
Happens. I mean, I was one of those people that love their dynamic, but Bix and Cassian just have this richness to them, and they really feel like the most well-developed romance that we've gotten in Star Wars. And I mean,
I think it's also there. I mean, it's also instructive to remind you that, you may go on a project tomorrow and have a really intense relationship with a bunch of people, and not even romantic, but you may have a very intense relationship with people and feel that you are like incredibly close friends, and then you realize that, oh my God, they've been married 4 times and they have this and they've come. I mean, we all have the accumulation of history and what we're made of is often way more complicated than we want to admit.
For my last question for you, I love that throughout this press tour, you have very much given Kathleen Kennedy her flowers, because I know you're very kind of like offline, but she gets so much unwarranted hate from fans. And I love how much, you've spoken about her support for the series and how she's like giving you so much support through all of that. How involved was she in the process of some of these like early, the early development of it, getting you through the strikes and the pandemic and the delays in the beginning?
Well, and the hijacking me into the show, seducing me into the show, keeping the process rolling to keep me involved in the show, getting the show started to roll, approving all the wacky stuff that we did and encouraging all that. Um, you know, our process with her is she sees every script. Obviously, she sees everything that's going to go out. We have everything on Atris, so we're everybody's seeing everything. All major casting approvals is Zana and Nina and I would come up with our candidate, the person that we wanted to go through. There's certain thresholds that we wouldn't waste time on, but pretty much anything that had any significance at all, we would run by her. Anything that had real significance would be a real community conversation. Very little disagreement about any of those things. Periodically, I mean, Ben Bratt, totally. Kathy, I was like, what are we going to do? She goes, Ben Bratt. I'm like, really? Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, so sometimes really big swings and really big suggestions. And then, she's our conduit to money. And so that has a lot of happiness and has a lot of friction in it. So at the same time that you're working together, you're having some very difficult conversations and moments about money. But there's no crying in baseball, and it's like it's a thing, it's a job, and everybody's under the stress. And I mean, people have to think. The one thing I'll leave you with this is that people have to think about until I think Born Legacy was the first time that the internet came crashing in on my creative process. And I had to tell a reporter one time who called me up, they had half of a story right and half of it really wrong. But they had something that was really going to mess me up. And the internet had just started and chats had just started. And I said to this reporter, I go, can you imagine? I'm trying to make a script. I'm trying to start this project. Can you imagine trying to do this job with 100,000 people looking over your shoulder? I go, it's killing me. I'm begging you to hold this story. Half of what you have is wrong. I'll give you the right part when it's over, but I can't do my job with everybody looking at me. And it was like so compelling. No one would ever say that now because everybody has a billion people looking at everything you do. So imagine what it's like for her, every single thing that she touches. And it's not just that, but like I've been on a press tour now for 7 weeks, 8 weeks. I mean, you finish every interview and you have to gut check yourself. Did I say something wrong? Did I say something that's going to be clickbait and pulled out of context?
Mhm.
And it happens every day. It happens every day, you know.
Unfortunately.
$650 million. I mean, I'm not supposed to talk, but it's like it was public record. It was in Forbes 6 months ago. It's a nothing burger. It's actually the cheapest show that's been made. And if you figure it out, Forbes did a whole article about how it was the cheapest show. But by mentioning it ATX and going, oh, we had money trouble. My God. So I see what happens to me on a minor scale. For her, it's epic. It's just, you got to be really rugged. You have to have some very thick skin to keep going.
And I
So
really,
respect on that.
yeah, I think she's one of our best. I mean, she's been in the business for a long time
Oh
making.
yeah, man. Yeah.
So just congratulations once again on Andor. Truly
You
a
guys have been fantastic. All right.